Hello, good afternoon, everybody. If you could please raise your hand if you can hear me. All right, cool. Thank you. All right, awesome. Everybody's doing it. It's good to see that we got 100% participation as we start. So we got a bunch of people that are popping in here. So we're just give it a second. And then we will go ahead and get started. So real quick before we go, a couple ground rules. We will be leaving time for questions at the end. So as we're going through the webinar here and you guys think about how this relates to your own process and what you're struggling with in business development and capture, save those to the end, or you can type them in the Q&A or the chat box here, and we'll get to those at the end. And then, and yeah. And also the slides will be available. The recording will be available when we get done. There is a processing period. But we will send it out to everybody to make sure you guys have it. So, and then everybody can see my screen, right? Get a hand somewhere.
Yeah, please do.
All right, cool. All right, guys. Well, welcome. Happy Monday. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day to join us in this short holiday week. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far and that you are gearing up to a great Thanksgiving. So Alessia and I thought that it would be great to put on a webinar about using the best practices for using AI and capture and business development, particularly in today's environment where competition is higher, budgets are potentially less, and so on and so forth, right? How do we stay competitive, and how do we achieve our growth goals? Because as you might have experienced, you may not be getting any more budget or resources to meet an increased growth goal standard. So Leslie and I also launched our AI platform to help with this a couple weeks ago. And we are very excited about the performance that we're getting out of our AI and happy to talk about that here a little bit more at the end. But so let's go ahead and get into it. All right, so Alessia and I, and Alessia before me, because I joined after Alessia founded the company, we've won over $500 billion in contracts using these processes that we're going to go over today. Before AI, we had to do it all manually. With AI, there's a lot of synergies that we have been building into our platform, Win More BD AI, to automate the hardest parts of winning contracts, which is the capture. For many of you on the call, you probably know intimately that you don't win more contracts by writing fancy proposals. You win them by doing capture. So we are developing our AI to think like top business developers to help you guys win more. And we have started our platform as a living strategy engine. This is the part of capture that changes, or that is kind of the focal point of business development, capture, and proposals as we get new information, as we get more intelligence coming in, as new teammates come on board, as requirements shift. It all impacts our win strategy. So we are focusing on win strategy first, building out from there. And what we're doing is decreasing the strategy time to develop, decreasing the time it takes to develop a win strategy by 75%. Doubling your win probability and driving your cost down. So we'll talk about a little bit more how that happens later on. But so this is Win More BD AI. If you guys are interested in this, I have a contact slide here at the end. So our first step or our first section here is integrating AI into your business development process. So this is something that people have been talking about for years now, and I'm going to let Alessia kind of talk a little bit about this now, what she's been seeing helping companies through this.
Absolutely. And let me see here. So I don't know if you guys can see me or not, but
Okay.
I think that'll spotlight, if you can spotlight me as well, Dave. we're going to talk about BD maturity and AI integration. As you know, lots of companies, and you may be one of those companies that already had a license or has a license to a platform that leverages AI, you'll see that adoption is not going as quickly as you may have thought it would. And what we are seeing just by the early implementers, people are using tools very unevenly. And the big difference in that is really how they can stage their libraries of materials, how they can get everybody trained, how is everybody, in fact, able to remember to use the tools for different use cases. What are the use cases? And so there's lots of questions to ask. So when you really think about the business development and AI integration maturity levels, you really have a very uneven picture where it comes to that of AI adoption. So level 1 is ad hoc, is unorganized. Companies are automatically at this maturity level. They're interested in AI, but they really have not dabbled in it per se. Level 2 is reactive. That is where companies are chaotic and tactical. They're responding based on individual performance. They're experimenting with ChatGPT, mainstream AI, right? Claude, Gemini, and a lot of that is very dangerous, as you know, from information security standpoint. It's amazing how many people don't know, for example, how to turn off data sharing with those tools. And we teach a lot about how to use AI. And whenever we talk to people, we ask them, hey, just make sure that none of that information goes out to train the AI. And people go, well, how? And inevitably, when I show them in the settings how to do that, and theirs is turned on. So the AI is being trained on the data, and it's even more tricky in Claude, for example, than ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a little easier. In Claude, you actually have to opt out from the beginning when you create an account, and it's really hard to find where that opt out is after the fact. So there is a lot of that goes on. So you want to make sure that your workforce, in fact, if you're not officially using AI at your company, your workforce is not being a shadow user with your information, where you're not being notified that they're using it, but they're using it nonetheless, and they're doing it because the company doesn't have a unified strategy. Number 3 is defined, level 3, and it's really standardized BD process in pockets without organization-wide process improvements. That is where AI becomes operational, and a company buys a few licenses, and some people are using it, some people are not using it, and it's already better than not using it at all, but that is still a ways to go. Level 4 is quantitatively managed. That is standard business development process implemented throughout the firm, measuring what matters, right? So AI is now embedded in strategy. That is where AI is being used for BD capture proposals. There's very little AI use, in fact, in capture right now. We're trying to change that with more BD, but at that level, that is where it needs to be implemented. 5 is optimized. That is where you have standard processes where AI is incorporated. Your firm is data-driven, and you have the firm, group, and individual goals set for AI automation. AI automation at that level is reached, and then 6 is differentiated, where you are basically having competitive differentiation that drives lifetime client base, and AI automation leads you to dominate the market, and you can have maximum volume, but also maximum quality, because it's not about how many proposals you churn out. It's how good and how winnable are the proposals you churn out. So what you need to do is invest in data quality, because AI, for it to be effective, your data must be clean, accurate, organized in a library that integrates with AI. That's really, really important. So that's key outside of AI. just for your success, but AI really makes a difference there. For AI to be able to retrieve your data, to be able to find the right kinds of data for you. And of course, you need to have an AI system that is not probabilistic, it's deterministic. I'm going to introduce those terms because AI by nature is probabilistic. But how do you know, for example, that it retrieved this fact from this past performance, that fact from that past performance, and didn't mishmash them together just because they sounded good? So you need to have that precise retrieval where AI did not mix it up, didn't hallucinate, and you are then putting in the right information into your proposal. So that's really, really key with the system you're using. So your organized data and what kind of tools you're using really matters. You also need to train employees at each level to ensure they understand AI's roles in business development, and there's many roles AI plays, and they're comfortable with using the tools they're expected to use. They know the tools, they know the functionality. So also you want to view the AI integration as an iterative process. As you move up the maturity levels, the AI capabilities and processes should evolve and essentially your team needs to be trained in what the expectations are, what they're able to do. Also, AI integration must be the driver in improving your business development maturity. So that's one of the cool things about AI. You have people now who maybe haven't had as much experience or as much training. They're maybe more junior. The AI is the ultimate equalizer. Really good software like what we're building and putting out there is able to take your, I want to say average and above average employee and make them outstanding. So that's what the power of AI is now. And have somebody with just a few years of experience out the gate becoming great capture managers, great proposal managers. So when you are adopting AI, whether it's our platform or anything else, you're going to have to engage in a version of a value stream analysis. And it's really understanding where will AI make a difference for you the most, the way your organization works, right? So because you know that there are areas where AI is able to move a needle specifically in capture, but in your organization, are you ready for that? Are you ready to do capture now and embrace capture with AI, for example, and look at where you could improve your areas of weakness, for example? And taking that journey through the BD value chain, even having a focus group in your organization, doing that would enable you to see where your operations could be improved, where you may be lacking resources, where AI can make a difference. And we're happy to have that conversation with you as well to see if there's a way to augment your operations.
All right, so let's take a look through the different steps and gate reviews of the whole business development process so that we can get on the same page and kind of talk through and start thinking about where the value streams could be and where the biggest bang for your buck is. So there's a lot of tools that can help fill your pipeline and advance opportunities through the stages. Whether you are buying a platform or you're using one of the LLMs, it's really about understanding what are the deliverables, what are the past metrics for each step. So if we think about it here, we really look at this through opportunity identification. So you need to fill the top of the funnel, and then you need to qualify an opportunity, and then you need to do capture and prepare for the final RFP, and then you need to write a winning proposal, right? So that's that top layer. The best companies generally have some sort of gate review process, some sort of quality control process, and I call it a thinking process, where we want to stop and look at each one of these opportunities as it matures and as it gets more information. We call them gate reviews. Different companies call them different things. There's different numbers for these things, but generally there is an account plan. There is some sort of target that we have of we want to go into this industry or this agency. We want to target these parts of these contracts within that agency. We have an ideal opportunity profile, right? So we have something that we're looking at. And then someone in your organization goes through the portals, whether it's eBuy or SAM.gov or, whatever the CHOP, for example, for NASA SOW, wherever you get opportunities from. And you have to look through them and read them and compare them against your ideal opportunity profile. Are we interested? Yes. Okay, cool. Let's put it in the pipeline. And then generally there's some sort of weekly pipeline review or biweekly pipeline review, or sometimes it's ad hoc because people hate doing pipeline reviews. And it's like, okay, well, hey, I really like this opportunity. Let's qualify it. And when you qualify an opportunity, you generally need three things. And, obviously different companies have different standards, but in the end it is, do we know who the customer is? Does that customer have a need that we can fulfill? And do they have money to pay us for it? And then usually it is, can we win, is the yes or no thing. So as we find an opportunity that's real, and this is one of the things that we were tackling when we were building the initial architecture of our system, was a lot of large companies and a lot of mid-tier companies have a lot of stuff in their pipeline that's fake. It's just not real. And when we've been doing qualifications for companies, you'll see, oh, well, our pipeline is $3 billion. And it's like, okay, well, as we qualify it, your pipeline's really only 300 million. Is that enough for you to win or to get to your growth goals for that year? And well, generally, anecdotally, we found about half of the opportunities weren't real that were in the pipeline. So then we get into the capture review. So we qualify, we say, yes, we want to spend money on this. We want to pursue this further. Generally, that's qualified, not qualified, that gate 2 here on the screen, the pursue, don't pursue gate review. That is when a capture manager formally gets assigned in a lot of organizations. And then they do a first step of capture, first phase, and then there's another gate review where sometimes it's called a blue team, whatever. It's generally a capture status review of some kind. Are you progressing? And there's nothing worse than a capture manager getting a no bid at that part because they didn't move the needle enough. They didn't move the win probability enough. They didn't make any progress at all. Maybe it just wasn't that important for the organization, or maybe they were focused on other things. So that happens a lot. And then capture gate 2, if you pass that, goes into, well, let's round out the team. Let's make all of the teaming decisions. Let's start developing the solution. And then when the final RFP comes out, you have this bid, no bid. And then you bid, right? And generally there's a ready to not ready submit right there at the red team before the proposal goes in. So there's a lot of quality checks that a business development organization needs to run in order to make sure that the team is not going off and chasing things, one, that they shouldn't be chasing, or two, telling you a story about all of the work that they're doing, but they haven't actually done anything that raises the win probability. So colloquially, as a leader, you would say, well, hey, walk the dog for me. Show me where it is. Is your opportunity in a weather balloon, or are you actively piloting that opportunity, actively driving the win rate? So as we think about the first kind of steps here, we want to talk about customer engagement and intelligence gathering, how AI can kind of help in this entire process. So Alessia, I'll turn it over to you for this slide here.
All right, so let's talk about AI integration in the capture process. We have at OST, Dave and I own also a company called OST Global Solutions, a process that we've been teaching over the years and using and implementing and winning our bids. So when Dave is giving that $500 billion number, that's all of the IDIQ ceiling values that we've won, which is a huge amount. We've won over 28 billion in funded work. That process allowed us to position our clients to win very nicely, from smaller pursuits to multi-billion-dollar deals. The 6 parts of capture are customer engagement, intelligence gathering, win strategy development, competitive analysis, teaming, and solution development. And capture itself is AI heavy because a lot of the brainstorming, research, and other tasks are all inherently AI tasks. Right, so they're aligning right along those 6 elements of the capture process value chain. So capture part 1 really are the process steps 1 through 3: customer engagement, intel gathering, and win strategy. And so here's some examples that our platform, WinMoreBD, really helps you do well with AI. So hot buttons research. What does the customer truly care about? How do you message the customer, right? So along the lines of what they care about. And what government intelligence exists about the customer, about their care abouts, and about this opportunity. Also detailed intelligence analysis as well. What is in that large document, saving you time on reading and analyzing a large document, actually giving you a really good summary of what's pertinent to capture. Also, win strategy and win themes brainstorming and development. So WinMoreBD, our software, is a win strategy, living strategy engine. So that's essentially helping you figure out what matters to the customer, what gaps you may have in delivering what matters to the customer, and leading you to that win through the action items. Capture part 2 is process steps 4 through 6. That's competitive analysis, teaming, and solution development. And here's some examples of what we are tackling with that. Is competitor profile workups and analysis, right? So who are the competitors? Who are the primes? Who are their teams? Who would be potentially the bidders, and who would be potentially teaming partners for you based on the gaps in your ability to tackle certain tasks. Competitive intelligence gathering, updates to win strategy, all done through the competitive analysis document. So teaming strategy, teaming partner value propositions. We're going to talk about value propositions in this webinar as well. And the brainstorming on the solution. AI is wonderful because it has thousands of PhDs in, quote unquote, PhDs in all of the different areas of all of the human knowledge. Then there's document assistance, capture plan development, for example, win themes, white paper, and action items. White papers, point papers, sources taught, request for information responses generation, proposal generation, all of these areas that are having to do with the solution development, right? So your initial draft is solutioning draft. So all of that is part of the capture process. So let's talk about the AI enhanced customer engagement. The first part, of course, customer engagement, is really the focus of the capture process. And AI is there to help you identify the customer first. Who is associated with that opportunity? Who is associated with it contractually, but also who may be associated with that opportunity, where you can gather that through industry day briefing slides, or any kind of publications that exist, or anything that happens to appear on the opportunity website or the agency website that shows an affiliation with a particular opportunity, right? So if you were to save time for yourself and not have to research all of that, AI can do that for you through the deep searches. And then you have to fill out the table. And that table essentially helps you identify exactly what the hot buttons are, because who decides on your bid's outcome? Who decides whether to award that bid to you or not? Well, it is the specific people, not this nebulous void called the government. Specific people on source selection evaluation board. That's why it's so important to boil down your capture to the specific individuals for whom you're going to be writing. And you may not know exactly who those people are, but you can make really good hypotheses, and AI can help you make those hypotheses.
And this is one of the really interesting partnerships of AI and humans, is that AI is wonderful at analyzing large chunks of text and even analyzing people's emotional state and kind of maybe what they didn't say and giving you ideas about what was said versus what wasn't said. But the one thing that AI can't do and will not be able to do, at least for the foreseeable future, is develop a relationship with a human. That human intelligence and that customer relationship is something that humans need to own. And particularly your BD and capture teams is they may be spending too much time behind the computer doing the research, reading the documents, sifting through the information, building the PowerPoint slides, and not enough time walking the halls and meeting with the customers and getting the intelligence that's needed to make a really persuasive proposal. So as we go and get that information and bring it back, this is an excellent use case to help fill out these tables for the customer contact plan and to analyze what the top 3 major careabouts are so that we can give it to them in the proposal. We can give them the answers. We can solve their pain for them. Back over to you, Leslie.
So let's talk about AI in intelligence gathering, right? So you can use AI for intelligence gathering because it's really good at web searches, long document analysis, and you can pull out customer insights, opportunity intelligence insights from the documents in literally minutes, instead of you having to sift through the documents and wonder if a certain document has the information. So you want to challenge the AI to do better with your searches. So a lot of the times, if you're doing that with a tool where you're doing that manually, you would have to kind of instruct and prompt AI in a variety of ways. When you use a specialized capture software like ours, the software does that in the background for you. Then when you look at that number of the links, they have to be curated for you, because a lot of the times AI will do what's called a similarity search, and it will pull a lot of the blogs from companies that are not particularly credible, right? And they all copy of each other. I mean, I know that, for example, Dave and I will put out original blogs, and then like about 10 of them will spring up from our competitors, who will then go ahead and copy that information and create
And
blogs on
badly,
their
copy
own.
it badly.
And copy it incorrectly, because they will rerun it through AI, and the AI will distort it. So it's very important that whatever AI finds for you are actually credible links, and the data is reliable.
Yeah, memorize, and this is something we're building into our system, but memorize this in case you're doing searches on your own. Authoritative sources. Very, very, very important. Otherwise, you'll get legal blogs and you'll get consulting blogs and of dubious credibility. So just
Yeah, I shall not name names here.
yeah,
So-
save yourself some pain.
So, instead of doing inline research, right, and you can collect all unfound information into a Word file and paste it into the chat to analyze and interrogate. Again, if you're doing that with tools out there that are not aggregating information, it takes longer, delivers more granular results, right? So like, for example, Glassdoor reviews data analysis. If you are having to go piece by piece, your regular AI will not be able to pull out that information. You're going to have to go manually. So you need to use specialty tools that will get that information for you and collect that for you.
Awesome. All right, so let's move on to win strategy and teaming here. So we've done all of this information. We've done all this work so far. We've reached out to the customer. We have uh, gathered their hot buttons. We have done a lot of intelligence work. Like, what do we start doing with all of that information, right? And before I get into uh, how to use this information, how to transform it, I do want to take a second to go over what a win theme is, because there's a lot of understandings or definitions out there of a win theme. So I'll just go over what our definitions are, and what do you do and how do you build these things, right? So the first building block of a win theme is the feature. It is what we are offering. It is what we're selling. It has to be either quantitative or qualitative. The more specific, the better, right? So if I am talking about a person, like a key person that I'm selling in the proposal, or offering in the proposal, their name, title, years of experience, and some sort of qualitative description about that person. The more specific your features are, the better, right? So that's step one, feature. This is what we have. The next part is the benefit to the customer. And features and benefits have to appear together always. You can put the benefit first, you can put the feature second, doesn't matter stylistically, but these two things have to be together. And the benefit to the customer answers the question, what's in it for them, how so, and so what? We actually have to explain it. You cannot just say, this is the benefit. You have to explain why, and why does it matter? And then the third building block of a win theme is proof. Proof builds confidence and credibility and makes our features believable. It makes the customers believe that we've done it before and that we can do it again. So these are the three building blocks of a win theme. The features and benefits must be together in all win theme statements. The proof can appear outside of the win theme. It can be in the proposal text. Sometimes it's in call out boxes or as like conclusions to sections or introductions to sections, however you do it. But proof needs to be there. Okay. And really, when we think about this, the gaps of either gaps in information on hot buttons and benefits, gaps in features, like we can't deliver the benefit that's needed, or gaps in proof, how we go about filling these gaps is our win strategy. So in our process, we start documenting the hot buttons, and we talked about the hot buttons on the prior slide with the contact plan, right? Those hot buttons are the benefits in disguise. So something that used to take a lot of work and a lot of time manually, now we're building into the software to analyze those documents and analyze your meeting minutes, your site visit notes, the industry day slides, the brainstorming of the team on what it is the customer cares about. And really, how does the customer see the problem, right? Because it's not about us at this stage. And this is kind of how we zero in on the sweet spot and in exactly what this customer cares about. So if you've ever read a proposal and wondered how come it doesn't sound like we're talking about our customer very much, it's because it's much easier for people to start with what they have, which is the features, instead of defining what the customer wants, regardless of whether we have it or not. So we're starting with the hot buttons, we're defining the benefits out of that, and then we're trying to find the features and the proof points to fill those benefits. Anywhere where we have a gap, whether it's a gap in intelligence or a gap in a feature or gap in a proof, is our gap analysis, and our win strategy is how we go about filling it. Okay. So I wanted to throw that out there real quick so that we are all on the same page. So AI does a really fantastic job finding data-driven proposal win themes that can really develop effective win strategies. Can compile the hot buttons, and this is arguably the most important part. What is it that your customers care about? How do they see the world? How do they see their problems? And it can start at a macro level, and it can go all the way down into every single task of the statement of work. Whether it's the old statement of work, or whether we have kind of some insights into what the new statement of work will be, or we've postulated the statement of work, diving into each of those things and, hey, is this a hot button or is it not? Because I've been part of brainstorming sessions where I look at the statement of work and I'm like, wow, this is really hard. This is like a really like massive deliverable. And then I get into the brainstorming and the program folks are like, no, that's like a paragraph that we send in once a month. That's not a problem. And I'm like, oh, okay. So capturing this correctly is probably the single most important part of this entire capture process. And one of the things I've noticed is as we sit down and start to write down hot buttons, we start challenging our own assumptions and we start figuring out that we don't know as much as we think we know. So then it's action items. Well, let's say, hey, can you go and call a meeting with your contact over there because we don't have this information. We think we have it. We think it's like this, but we need to verify with them. We need to validate this with them because this is going to drive a large portion of our win strategy. So starting early will allow us to fill all of these gaps, right? If we are doing this in the proposal phase, it's too late. You just don't have time. You're trying to do a quick and dirty to get the proposal done, but we're going to be guessing. Starting early enough allows us to bake in the quality control of verifying and vetting our solution and vetting our understanding with the customer. And then we can develop a prompt to suggest features of your approach that speak to the hot buttons and the benefits. And we can go through your past performance. We can go through your proposal library and find things that you may have bid in the past that may deliver the benefit that we need. So that the answer may be there, particularly in like the management approach and things like that. As we get into technical approaches, that's a little trickier. So we're going to want to verify all of this stuff with humans. Again, this is to help like overcome the white page syndrome where there's nothing on the page and you don't know where to start, right? Generally, what we've seen working with a lot of technical experts and a lot of really talented and smart people is that they struggle creating new stuff, but they're really good at tearing apart stuff that exists on the page. So whenever we're struggling to do this, sometimes it's just, all right, let's just get something on the page and let them fix it. And they will, but you have to give them something first, right? So if the answers are in your proposals, maybe, right? If it's not, then okay, well, that's an action item, right? We need to call some sort of solution development planning session to find the answer, to develop the features that we need for the benefits. And the same thing with the proof points, right? So if your proof points are in your past performance library, awesome. Or your corporate experience library, awesome. Anybody that's worked a lot of proposals knows that you have to rewrite your past performance frequently because this contract is, while it's the same NAICS code and the same PSC code and it's cybersecurity, they just ask things a little bit differently. So now we're back interviewing people. We're going through the monthly status reports. We're finding the just right, exactly what the customer wants, right? So our system helps you do that faster. Using the available AI out there can help you do that faster too, but you have to prompt it and you have to give it the information, right? It can't just make stuff up for you. Well, I guess it could, it just won't be very good, right? So this thought and all of this this thinking and this thought process is really what makes AI great. So Leslie, I'll turn it over to you for this slide.
All right, well, let's talk about competitive analysis. And Dave and I have been the solution architects behind building the logic of competitive analysis because we bring in 20 years of doing black hats, price to win analysis for pretty large companies very successfully. And we're building that logic into the AI so that it can do things correctly, can do things right. So your first task in competitive analysis is identify and analyze the incumbents, right? First and foremost, that's your simple, sort of straightforward approach of saying, okay, who is doing this contract in the past? Also, identify other competitors. You can use AI, you can use USA spending combination with AI. Our platform essentially is able to do that to do that automatically by getting the right kind of data and combining that, because believe it or not, there's lots of different steps that researchers use manually in order for them to be able to do that. So it saves you a ton of time doing that. We then need to go ahead and identify competitors that may be on the team. Now that gets really, really tricky because a lot of that information is not out there. But the way that you would do that essentially is look at each competitor, do their gap analysis from the perspective of their capabilities, and say, okay, who out in the market essentially would fill their gaps, and do a lot of that research. And then see and look at each competitor and say, okay, who is more likely to team with each other based on their particular subcontracting history. So there's a lot of analysis that goes into that AI automates. And a lot of times you also need to look at, for example, 8A set-asides and say, okay, has the company grown out of its status such as 8A and small business? And oh, by the way, the new rules change actually show you that contracts don't have to stay in the 8A program. So there's a lot of change going out in the market now that essentially doesn't lock those contracts quite the same way. So there's those considerations that have to be integrated in AI and updated with AI as the rules change out there. So you can use web scraping for incumbent information to gather information about them, and do a lot of internet searches, right? So example would be, for example, failure, mishap, incident, safety violations, security violations, lawsuit, merger. So there's lots of different searches that have to be done and take a tremendous amount of time. And AI basically enables you to do that a lot faster if it's built right? And not manually prompting the AI to do that, but actually having AI do that for you. So teaming partner identification is connected very closely to the competitive analysis. I will bring this up, and this may strike the chord with people, but that's been kind of our soapbox with Dave for a very long time. It's called the Bob factor. How do people normally team? Well, I have a gap in my capability, so I need to bring in a teaming partner. Who should I bring? Acme Inc., Bob's company. Oh, I haven't had beer with Bob in a long time. Bob's a lot of fun. Bob's got great jokes. I can't wait to talk to Bob and have an excuse. And so I dial Bob and I ask Bob, "Hey Bob, um, have you seen this opportunity? No? Let me send it to you. All right, well, we need to work up an NDA and everything. If you want to go after this together, I would love to work with you again." So now you have Bob on the team. Now, Bob's company may not be the best company to win this opportunity for you at all. In fact, it may be some other company completely that would give you the best chances, but Bob, you like Bob, and that is where you go, right? And a lot of that kind of Bob factor teaming is done even at the top 5 government contractors, right? So you don't have to be a small business or mid-tier to do this. Like literally Lockheed, Raytheon, Northrop, GDIT, I don't know, General Dynamics, Boeing, they all do that, right? So like if you really pick on the top 5. So you have to do a more thorough analysis, and it's really based on your competitive analysis. It's really based on your gap analysis, and your customer analysis should figure into that as well. So there's a lot that goes into figuring out who should be your teaming partner, what should be your best teaming strategy, where are you positioned, whether you can decide to prime or sub. So a lot of that is automated through AI. Our system is definitely something, our system is tackling that particular challenge as well. But generally speaking, a lot of the times companies do the searches themselves or resort to Bob factor. So we're going to talk about assessing partners and teaming strategies. a teaming strategies, you can sort companies that fill the gap that you have by revenue, identify the ones with the highest revenue with that customer, and use AI to analyze their list of projects for relevancy, size, and recency, and populate the gap matrix with the company's past performance information, because you can actually deduce what they're doing by the name of the project, or go ahead and look up that particular contract on the web and correlate that particular scope information. It takes a ton of time for a human to do that. It takes a lot less time for AI to do that when it's tuned up correctly. So you want to select the company you would like to work on first, the one that you may know that has a relationship with you, right? So, or the one who has the most relevant past performances, and you may have to approach them, but that's your human in the loop task, right? Once AI gave you the right information, is how to approach them. And AI can suggest a teaming strategy. However, the formula for approaching, and Dave and I just decided to leave this with you as something that you can just plug into your existing work, is a prompt that you can use with any AI. Ours has it in the background, but you can use that with any AI, where you can create an enticing teaming value proposition. Why should the company team with you? And again, you know, a lot of that should be done with a lot of judgment in mind, right? So you wouldn't give away a lot of information to a potential competitor, but it's done enough to make the company salivate and want to be your teaming partner. And that is to show the company that you know what you're doing. And you want to team with them specifically for very specific reasons of where you see a real synergy between your company and theirs. For example, opportunity summary. You can give them really good summary showing them, hey, you know, I use capture planning. It is a formal process. We're serious about this. We're not amateurs, right? Demonstration of relevance. Draw parallels between your company's proven track record and the pursuit requirements, showing that you are doing good work and you fit this opportunity and you're likely to win. So when they're teaming with you, they're teaming with a likely winner. Customer relationship dynamics. Again, be very carefully without divulging sensitive information. You want to hint at the depth of your customer relationships. What is your key currency in teaming generally, and deciding who's going to be prime and sub, right? That is, there's two currencies. One of them is your customer relationship, and the second one is past performance. So you have two currencies that you're leveraging in this particular situation, and you already showed the demonstration of relevance, your past performance, and then customer relationship is the second one. Again, be very careful as to what you divulge, but your job is to hint that your relationship is deep. Then synergistic advantage argument, right? So what are the synergies between you and them? How the two of you would make a better team, or maybe there's a three of you, whoever is going after this, right? So however you are forming a joint venture or team or whatever, or CTA. So resource portfolio, right? So if there's specific tools, facilities, other assets the company is bringing to that, and you are not kind of worried about the competitive advantage potentially if it doesn't work out, you may want to mention them if they're out in the open and visible to everyone. And then, of course, the contact information slide. AI can help you generate this. This is kind of a ready prompt for you to use as a gift from us. And this is something that is built into our platform. Over to you, Dave.
Yeah, thank you, Alessia. So who has gotten the most out of AI so far? It's the experts. It's the people who know what to do next, know kind of the overall picture, and is able to explain step by step to the AI what they want and what great looks like. We are taking that know-how, that process, that methodology, and building it into the software so you don't actually need to know those things. What you need to know is who your customers are, why you're a great company, and all of the human intelligence that you can find, whether it's from your customers, from your partners, and from whoever else is involved. So what we're doing is we're putting together an early access deal for people, and our platform is developing these increases in win probability. So the first functionality is going out December 17th. So it's coming up here soon, less than a month. We're really excited. Companies who sign up before the end of the year are going to receive 5 licenses to the Win More BD platform at 33% off the first year cost. Then we are giving 5 licenses to OST's entire self-paced training catalog so that you can train your BD folks, your operations people to help out. Even with the amazing capabilities of AI, humans still need to be in the loop. Humans still need to drive the process, and humans still need to do the thinking. That old adage of garbage in, garbage out, there's no tool that can fix that. We still need to be the drivers. We still need to be the pilots. And by we, I mean people, and use the amazing advantages that AI provides. And then also we're going to provide a white glove implementation, and your organization will be able to shape the features on our roadmap moving forward. You can visit winmorebd.ai to learn more and schedule time, or you can click this link here. This is not clickable. I'll put this in the chat as we go to questions. If you'd like to schedule a demo with me, I can show you exactly how the system does all of these things. And then if we're a little early, that's okay. You can subscribe to our newsletter. I'd recommend you do this anyway. We're going to be pushing out a lot of AI related content to help you incorporate these best practices into your organization so that you can meet your growth goals. So with that, I will leave the next 9 or 10 minutes or so for questions. So if you guys have any, please feel free to start putting them in the chat or in the Q&A. And we have none so far. So you're muted, Alessia.
Dave, Dave, you want to put those links in the chat, please, as well, while we're waiting for the questions.
Yep. So any question, guys, if you have an issue, something you're dealing with, particular around adoption or security or anything like that, we have a lot of experience in that and can help you kind of go in the right direction. So I will plop this in the chat here. So if you'd like to schedule a demo, here's the link in the chat. So go ahead and click that. You can find time with me. I'll even meet with you on Black Friday. For those of you who are working.
Because you're not shopping.
Oh, I hate shopping.
It's a little too crazy out there.
Especially hate shopping on Black Friday.
All right, so on the deal that we have on the training, that is fairly unique, and that is only available till December 31st. So there's a limited number of deals out there that we're adding people to our learning platform and offering this.
All right, so first question that came through, Alessia, could you explain how we are handling security and how we're protecting sensitive proposal data and capture intelligence through the platform?
Every client gets their own enclave. So all of your data is insulated. The platform that we're building on is in GovCloud. So the large language models that are allowed there, they're not using your data for training data either. Essentially all of your information that's proprietary, that is your information, whatever you're putting in a system is yours and it stays yours, and it is not used to improve the system other than your own particular enclave's knowledge. Right, so your databases that are associated with your instance are improved, your business processes have more information, your opportunity is informed with your information, but it's not shared with anybody else or with large language models that are associated with the platform. I hope that answers your question.
Awesome. Can you go into a little bit more detail about how companies will be able to, because what we've seen is we've seen like pockets of excellence of capture inside organizations. So like, let's say a large company bought a bunch of licenses. Like, could you kind of go through the theory behind being able to share those best practices with other members of the team, maybe who are just coming up in capture or, standing up a new division?
Right. So the biggest thing is making sure that your team is trained in AI, knows how to use it. So they have to understand the platform and they have to understand the art of the possible. Right. So generally, just like with anything that you're not used to thinking about in your regular work, you have to kind of know that, hey, in this task, I could rely on a platform this way and that way. Right. So, and it's harder with a chat. It's easier with a workflow based platform. That's why ours is workflow based. So that the team, in fact, remembers that we're at this step and it kind of guides you to that next step. But generally, kind of that connection between, hey, this is my daily task, this is what I have to do now, and this is how AI can help me, that is where the disconnect happens. And very soon you're running forward without engaging AI and doing things the way that you used to do things, or like using AI for very minor tasks. So it's very important that the platform is very helpful to you in kind of guiding you to that next step. And also you have a lot of training that offers you that opportunity to remember that AI can help you.
Awesome. Can you also talk a little bit about how you want to use AI for like account management and potentially identifying relationships that people on your team may have or have worked with in the past? Can you go over that a little bit?
Yeah, AI is really great at researching information, right? So, and organizing that information in a way that's digestible. So when you're talking about account management, it's really important to understand who the customer is, what are the vehicles the customer is using, who are the people out on, that are still remaining at the customer agency because of all of the Doge activities, for example, and how to approach those people. What are the good ways to contact them with what information? And when Dave is talking about the different relationships that people have, it's important to know who in your organization is the holder of those relationships, right? Because you're not going to have a relationship with everyone, but there are other people you can leverage at your organization who can help you with those relationships. And then you need to know finally, like, what are the hot buttons of this particular customer and what is the messaging that needs to go over. Maybe this is a short PowerPoint presentation that whoever has that relationship that could, send to this customer that address the burning issue for this customer. The customer then may grant you a meeting, right, where you can shape the opportunity, or you can shape elements of the solution or evaluation criteria that will allow you to win. Or maybe put a name to the face, right? So just when the customer is trying to figure out who would be the potential bidder that they may um, be willing to sort of open their mind and award to in addition to the incumbent. So if there are solutions to their burning issues where the incumbent hasn't been doing so well. So account management is really understanding all of those moving pieces and who is who has the relationships, who should be contacted, what are the historical kind of particularities about this customer. What does the market look like? What is their social selection? What are the dynamics going on with this particular customer? And some of it is human intelligence. Some of it is intel gathering that AI can help you do.
Excellent. Well, that looks like all the questions. So appreciate everybody's time. Again, we'll be pushing these slides out and making sure that everybody gets a copy of the recording. If you guys, I put the chat and the link here, so if you'd like, please schedule some time with us. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great Thanksgiving and gets to spend time with family, and hope to see you guys here soon on our next webinar.
All right, thank you,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody. See y'all.
Bye.
Oh, Pete raised his hand. Hey, Pete, do you have something you wanted to talk about?
Oh, you just said thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. See you guys.
All right.